Good day and positive vibration. This is Major and Cody. Welcome to Major TV in conjunction with news, facts, and comments. How you doing, Sister Shalom?
Hey, shalom, brother. Hold on 1 second. Oh, there we go. I'm
You're
doing good.
live.
Yeah,
So,
I'm
what's
doing
going
good,
on,
brother.
Sister Shalom? What's going on? How you doing?
I am doing fantastic. I apologize for that. I had you going on in the background. I was hearing things twice and doubling. But shouts out to all my family that's joining us out there today. I'm doing good, feeling good like a Hebrew should. Excited about this interview. Been a long time coming, I heard.
Yeah, we want to definitely shout out everybody viewing. Thank you so much. We have a very special guest. A guest. I'm excited about it. Me and the sister, we go way back. I met her through the social media world. Like I met a lot of you all. Before we get into sharing their journey and they fight, they help people that's homeless get homes, get the mental help, the assistance they need. We want to ask y'all to share this live as well as like it. Um, we do this because we trying to get information out to you all. Too many times they be asking, "Well, what are you doing?" Well, we trying to share information first and foremost. We trying to connect the dots. I meet you, you meet me, and what have you. So, Cody, before we bring them on, just tell me what you're thinking, how you feeling about this.
I'm feeling that like this is a very important, topic, considering the majority of us in our community are living paycheck to paycheck, and that's one paycheck from being homeless. So, if anything, people should get from this is to the reasons why you should be watching your finances and not spending your money frivolously, because you never know when you might lose your job or when the economy go bad, what you gonna do if you don't have those reserve funds that you and I speak about all the time. So, it's unfortunate that we have this crisis in America, but at the same time, I'm grateful for people like April and her comrade that's going to be joining us today to, to fight for the people who find themselves in unfortunate situations.
And I have to say this, and I need to make it known. I am more for pushing the grassroots movements because they deal with the immediate issues, the larger conversations and issues in our community. I do address, but we definitely need to hear the smaller verses that don't get a chance to come on platforms like this. So, without further ado, I want to bring up our distinguished and very special guest. We have April Burns, aka the People Advocate, and Kenneta Patterson, aka Patterson, excuse me, aka Homeless CEO. How y'all doing? Blessings.
Phenomenal. How are you?
Good.
Hey, family. Doing
Shalom.
awesome. Glad to be here.
Y'all live. Me and Cody want to welcome y'all to Major TV in conjunction with news, facts, and comments. We're just trying to bring real content to the people. Tell us about you, April, about you, Kenneta. Kenneta, I say Kenneta? I'm sorry. Kenneta, right?
Kenneta,
All right, cool. Tell us about you. Let the people know what's going on. I won't hear y'all start. I want to hear where y'all started from. Um, how y'all met and where y'all at right now. We do have questions for y'all, so feel free to do that.
All right. Well, I'm April, and I've given myself the name the People's Advocate. Um, and that came from me having a long history from I believe maybe 9 years old of experiencing homelessness as a child with my mother, as well as becoming a homeless teen parent myself at 15 years old. And so I've really navigated through the system to see all of the things that go right and what goes wrong. And at this point, from seeing all of the things that go wrong, I just wanted to be a resource to my people because my people are the most affected, so that we know how to access the services that are out there to try to help prevent us from being recycled back into homelessness and to kind of help move us forward. So that's where the People's Advocate came from. And it's kind of in the process of fighting for housing rights. That's where I met Kenneta Patterson, and we've started doing this work together. So I don't know if that did I answer.
I mean,
that?
that's cool. That's cool for right now. What about you, Kanika? We gonna get to the nitty gritty.
Okay.
All right.
It's you already know, Mr. Major. Now we have to hold back, but it's to me it's a very epic story how I met Miss April. I think we're gonna save that is what you're saying, but we could get into that. But it's pretty.
I mean, you can talk about you met her and what have you. We got questions that gonna get into nitty gritty.
Okay.
We don't just want to talk to y'all. We want to bring out what y'all are doing, how we can help, and what have you.
Yeah. So I'm Kenneta Patterson. I go by the Homeless CEO. And that is meaning the storyteller of poverty and homelessness because I'm the wife and mother of 5 children, and myself and my husband makes a family of 7. And we were chronically homeless 4 separate times. And what my narrative is to change the narrative of harmful social services because it's not always someone not paying their rent. Anything can happen and you become homeless. So that's what I want people to have awareness of, and also plugging people back into being able to attain permanent housing without barriers and without the harm and trauma that we have experienced. So we don't want to see any other families go through what our families went through. At the time when I met Miss April, I was organizing. This was I started back in 2016, advocating for what happened to my family when we lost housing. It might have been maybe the 3rd time in that we had lost housing. My husband was incarcerated at the time, taking up for us as a family. He got railroaded. That's a whole nother jam right there. But just in the midst of that, I ended up going to speak out at a town hall meeting, and some people found me. That's a whole nother story too. But when they found me, I started organizing, and I became the first organizer for their organization. And just a little fast forward, April was going through what she was going through in a whole nother county. I'm in Davidson County, which is the capital of Nashville, Tennessee, Music City, that is a tourist nation, right? And so they passed her off to me in a manner of, just think about this, being a provider, right? So they gave me the rundown. Oh, this person is so difficult, and da 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 is how they kicked it to me, as if I was in their network of how things operate behind the scenes. And so I really wasn't receiving that description. And thankfully, I was like, okay, come on to one of the meetings. We started talking or whatnot. And so that's how we got together. And it was like they were trying to pass her off onto me, but that was the greatest gift they could have ever gave both of us.
And what was that, 2018?
Yeah, this was back in 2018, and we started to dynamic duo off the rip. And so we just kind of hit the ground running, and we've been through a lot of trauma since then. And kind of today, as you sit on this line with us, we have finally arrived past all the obstacles that have been thrown in our way to be able to actually bring the work forward without the blockages. We fought that hard and warred so hard behind the scenes. And sometimes we would be fighting multiple people in a day behind the scenes just to try to, snatch up the behind the scenes type of thing. And, let them know our lived experience. It's not to tell you you're doing wrong. It's an enhanced asset is what it really is.
And that's kind of what we will eventually, when we talk about the, what was it? The systemic
barriers,
systemic retaliation.
Oh yeah,
we can go deep into that, but go ahead. Yeah.
Well, for my co-host ask her questions and what have you, I need to let everybody know, and April, you can attest to this. We have been talking about this for over a year. You've been updating me, let me know what's going on. You even invited me and Cody to come out there because me and Cody wanted to do a townhouse. We was talking about probably doing a townhouse and going to certain cities that's doing something. But I do want everybody to know behind the scenes, because I don't talk about everything publicly. She been to let me know what's going on, addressing me and so forth, so on. But I'm gonna let my co-host come in with her questions.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Major. And once again, ladies, thank y'all for being here. When Major brought the conversation up about doing an interview with you all, I said, yes, that's exactly what the people need to know, that there's a people's advocate out there for individuals that are going through some hard times and facing homelessness or have been homeless for a long time. So my question comes from the website, right? And you called it Community Bridges Inc. Tell us a little bit about how you came up with that name for your website. And for those who don't know, the website exactly is communitybridges1111.org. Beautiful website, nicely done. So tell us a little bit about how you came up with that website.
The website, well, the organization, I actually started it after I was evicted in retaliation of reporting codes violations back in 2018. And it was also in retaliation of trying to form a tenant union with the help of Kenneta Patterson. But once I realized that every social service agency that I tried to receive assistance from, I couldn't get no help. I mean, nobody, even as a person with a disability, none of the disability rights places, none of the fair housing places, the Tennessee Human Rights Commission, none of those places would assist me or even hear what I was saying because I was challenging the system. So I was like, okay, if I can't get any assistance, maybe if I can become that assistance for other people. And that was what, led me to starting Community Bridges Incorporated, to build the bridges within the community so that we can connect those services and to be that voice. And so shortly after getting the organization started, I guess maybe in 2020, that's around the time that I ran into Major TV, and he was able to help me with my website to get it to the point to where it is. And I'm very grateful because I didn't have anything on there. He had to do a whole suite.
Hold up. No, we ain't gonna go. Don't do that. We gonna be. Let's be real. It was a mess. But
Go
that's
ahead
my.
on, Major.
Oh,
But
Lord.
look.
Then.
They say I don't help people. Though. They say Major TV don't help nobody, and this, that, and other. So finish. So I just had to be messy.
But no, seriously though, because like I was literally living in my car when I started the organization. It was that seriously. Like I had just been evicted. My daughter was separated from me because she couldn't go to school out of my car. And so I had to take her all the way to Knox County while I was still in Davidson County fighting. Mind you, while I'm living in my car, I'm serving on the steering committee of this national organization. They're flying me out to Austin, Texas, all these other places to speak about and to represent about displacement and homelessness. Yet I couldn't get no help getting housed. I mean, and this is where I'm saying like there's an imbalance and issue when it comes to us getting access.
I want to talk about that whenever I can come back.
You can step in whenever you want, sis. You can step whenever you want.
So
Yeah.
I remember I was there the day that she was evicted. So just to back up a little bit, after I said they just kind of threw April at me like, here you go, please do something with this lady, basically. And so we started organizing. And I had a conference coming up that I'm like organizer, facilitator, all this jazz. And so we already had this lined up, and we were taking tenants with us to this conference. And the conference was a multilingual conference. So it was 3 languages being spoke. We were able to talk English to people that spoke different languages, and it was a beautiful thing to witness and be a part of. And so the people came back ready to organize and, hit the ground running. That's what April did. We didn't know at the time that it's not wise to ask for your community center. What is that? The community room that is attached to apartments.
The clubhouse.
And so the management, they were like, well, that's just for, anything but that. And so they found a way, and I feel like that's speaking on your lawsuit that you had against them too. So she was in a safe place, and fighting them on that eviction, but it was like they had to find some reason. And that organizing her asking for the clubhouse was the one that they took and ran with it. And so when we were there, what were we doing? I know we had the meeting, but I was there that day for a reason. And then it just was like the people showed up to evict. It just didn't even, I don't even know, did we go to court? Well, I don't think it was a court date. So it just all was illegal.
It was several court days. I'm going to tell you one thing about it.
Let me say this. Listen, y'all have free reign and just talk how y'all want, because we're gonna dig into y'all just flow.
Yeah.
Okay, so with the process, when they first started, it was like 2017, and the apartment complex was purchased. That it was tax credit property, and new owners came in from out of state and purchased the property with tax credits and tax exempt bonds. And instead of them relocating people that were living there so that they could rehab the units, they were supposed to temporarily relocate us. But instead, they just started evicting people for frivolous reasons. They evicted over 100 tenants. And so they had tried to evict me, but I fought back and got it dismissed. And then I filed a complaint of my own against them. And I actually won a default judgment for $25,000. And so at this point, me doing this by myself, they didn't like that. So they ended up getting like 2 law firms, the whole housing authority, the city of Murfreesboro. They all just teamed up because they was like, we can't let this one person shine this light and win in a situation like this, because they knew that would open up the floodgates for more people to fight back in this manner.
Yeah.
So they had to do anything just to shut me up, and that was to evict me illegally, even though they knew that what they were doing was wrong. As of right now, today, all of the stuff that they were saying they were evicting me over, saying I didn't pay rent and all that, none of that's on my record. If you evicted me for not paying you rent, you would put a judgment on me for your rent.
Right.
None of that exists. But I'm gonna tell you what does exist. They still owe me over $25,000 on the record. It's one thing to win a judgment, but to collect that judgment is a whole nother thing. You got to get somebody to file all of that. And they know, as low income people, we don't really have money for attorneys, which is why I'm going to paralegal school. But go ahead. Next question.
All right. Well, I want to stick there before I let Cody come back in. Wow. So when she asked a question about the story behind community bridges, so basically that inspired a real life occurrence in both of y'all lives, right? How many other people y'all knows was going through the same things with homelessness?
Countless. It's to the point where, honestly, when I was homeless, my husband and I, we still do for people, just like April said, when you're homeless, and especially in our capacity, you still work. Like you working homeless, like you still doing all the things. We still deep in the community, still trying to, repair this thing. And so one morning he worked a construction job and he was picking up somebody, and we witnessed all the families in the Walmart parking lot. You just saw, how the car is started and windows are foggy because they having to warm themselves up in the cars. It's the entire Walmart parking lot. And honestly, to me, before the pandemic, they started closing Walmarts because those families were in them. That's the magnitude that we're talking. Countless numbers of those situations. And we even presented a solution to that, and we were blocked on that. It was a scoring metric behind it. And one of the things they had to measure was our lived experience. And we got a 0 on a scale of 1 to 5. We hadn't been talking to y'all long, and I'm pretty sure you could tell we got like a 10 on the scale of lived experience. So it's just the discrimination that we've experienced trying to solve this. And we know the situations, we know where the people are, we know because we've been on the ground and experienced it.
What is the alternative dispute resolution and mediation certification? What is that?
Alternative dispute and resolution. That's a mediation basically for a short term for it. And
who is for?
It's for the people. Okay, so
I need you to explain that clearly.
I'm about to explain it. So what led me to
I'm just saying, because people don't, when y'all know it.
Yeah.
People listening that's probably going through that, know somebody going through it, they don't know it. So as y'all talking, y'all know it, but It's like homeless. A person homeless got to go through whatever. I don't know the case is. I need y'all to be specific because people may need y'all advice. Y'all on the stage right now. People listen at y'all.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So, alternative dispute resolution. This is mediation that could be in the form of landlord-tenant mediation. If you're having a problem with your landlord that you don't seem to be able to solve on your own, we can come in and have that conversation in a way to where we do a win-win outcome. If there, it could be a family issue. We have family situations with maybe probate situations, death, and a lot of times when people die, that's one of the things that tends to break families up, and they want to argue over material things or property and stuff like that. Sometimes when you can't afford an attorney, mediation is a more affordable alternative to that. And so the courts use mediators if you in certain situations like with child and custody, child custody, divorce. There's a lot of
It's for anything dealing with something legal. Have a mediation
before it becomes a legal matter. This is to prevent it from becoming an issue that the court decides. And so, for another reason why I did this certification course, and this is to go back to the community. When I saw, and I don't want to go too far into what we did with the coalition, the NFAC, but looking at the infighting that went on within that, I saw a need for someone to be able to help us communicate better. And because we're never going to agree on everything, but we can always try to find a common ground within it all so that we can focus on it to move forward. And to me, our people in general, our families, we don't know how to communicate very well. And I'm not speaking of like logistics of like how you speak or, if we use slang or whatever. I'm saying we don't know how to express our thoughts and our feelings in a healthy way without attacking each other.
Yeah.
And I just want to be able to provide that resource in any kind of way to help our people. So that was just one of the things in my downtime. That's what I worked on. And I got that certification.
Thank you so much. I want to thank everybody viewing. I have my host and Cody, two beautiful sisters on the People Advocate and Homeless CEO. And I want to thank everybody watching. Please like and share this live. We have some real information going on. Be attentive because you may be going to something, or you may know somebody going to something. And I hear both of them sisters, they're spitting that fire. Cody, you can go with your own questions.
Going back to the website, I noticed that you spoke about not us as a people not commonly being able to work together, and I noticed that you listed a number of different organizations that that you say you're working with. Why do you think? What do you think is the main obstacle of people coming together and working together? And why do you think these particular organizations put their differences aside to come and work with you all on this issue of homelessness?
Well, the reason that I think we don't seem to be able to achieve it together is because everybody is too much individualism, and everybody's got their own agendas and ideas, and it's like everybody thinks their idea is more important or better, and instead of us trying to see how, okay, everybody's idea is strong and is needed, how can we make it work together? And in my honest opinion, I believe those larger organizations have figured it out to where they realize that the goal is those numbers, and we can iron out the wrinkles on the back end, but on the front end, so we can go and get this funding, we got to put our differences aside and move forward. And the more people we can get behind us, the more work we're going to be able to be done, because capacity is key. If you can have an idea, but if you don't have the people to help you pull it off, you ain't got nothing.
Right.
I agree with that. I agree with that, my sister. So when you were talking about building, I think you mentioned the Build Back Better plan or what is it, American Rescue Plan. Now I know that was done in I guess to help us come back from the pandemic. I know that a lot of people were laid off during this time. It was only essential workers out there working, so therefore everyone else was either furloughed or they were laid off. Businesses shut down as a result, and they didn't come back even with the rescue plan in place. So could you speak to the rescue plan and how you actually seen that it worked for the people who were homeless prior to any natural disasters that occurred?
Yeah.
That's a good question.
The from my experience, when they first started issuing out the funding for the American Rescue Plan, at first they were only addressing people who were homeless as a result of or after COVID, or stuff like that. But what I had to really advocate for is the fact that there were so many people that were homeless before COVID that had not had any help or were still out there. So we don't want to only streamline that funding for the people that took, because the onset dates, if something starts in March of 2020 but you became homeless in February, then you don't qualify. You see what I'm saying? So we had to make sure that we opened that up to encompass all homeless people. And so with that, what we did was able to get them to focus on all unsheltered homelessness instead of just people homeless as a result of COVID. And so the emergency housing voucher program was one of the main programs that came out of the American Rescue Plan. And I can say that I was a recipient. I received my housing through an emergency housing voucher. And although I had to go through a lot of battles and fights to get it, once I got it, I'm finally housed. And so that's the point I want to make sure is that people understand that even they're going to make it difficult for you to access these services. It's not going to be easy, because if it's real easy, then they know that it'll actually solve the problem. And they don't, in my opinion,
right there.
The money ain't in the cure. It ain't in the solution. You know what I'm saying? So it'll be a lot of people out of jobs if everybody that's homeless actually got housed. So it did serve a purpose. There are a lot of people that it did house, and we attend these meetings and we see these people getting housed, but we need to keep them housed now. And that's where we need to come in and make sure that we're providing those wraparound services and support services. And that's what, like the mediation, now that they have a landlord, can we make sure that they don't have any complications with that landlord so that they don't end up getting re-evicted?
And have nowhere to go.
So are y'all familiar with the HUD program, Rush?
We hadn't heard of that one.
Mm-mm.
And we dig into HUD everything. So, and I've never heard that before.
What is that about? Yeah, I'm interested.
Okay, so they had a report came out, and it was entitled "Plugging the Gap." HUD is Housing and Urban Development Rush Program, and it was supposed to be implemented as a result of natural disasters, particularly the hurricane that happened in Florida. Ian, I think it was the name of that hurricane, right? So it was supposed to help those individuals who became homeless as a result of a natural disaster. So I was going to ask you all, if you all had any knowledge of that program being used for individuals who were homeless prior to the hurricane. So it goes to speak to what you guys were just speaking on. Prior to the pandemic, there was a housing crisis, and then after the pandemic, it just exasperated. So the same things happens and occurs in counties where there's natural disasters such as tornadoes and hurricanes, but there are already people that was displaced, and then added on to those people who lose their home as a result, those people seem to get priority over the individuals who were already homeless for whatever reason. Could y'all speak to that and how those funds are allocated, with such a disaster going on and already on top of a homeless crisis?
Right. I would like to say honestly with that, when the moratorium was going on, I noticed that they created a diversionary court, and it was equipped with a call center. It had, it was just equipped, and it was hard to access it. It was not transparent. So you could get these funds all day long, but are they really reaching what it needs to reach to make it work the way it needs to work? And that's where we come in, like filling in the gap and connecting those dots together, because we see how it's misfiring in the process of everything. So I feel like, and I witnessed a lot of things happen during that with the people that were houseless. Like, just for an example, one gentleman, it's like the landlord took the opportunity to try to evict him, but what he did, it was so shady that they wouldn't have found it out if he didn't speak up. He took an address that didn't have a home on it, and he was trying to evict the man from that, but not the apartment that he actually was in, because the apartment he was in, he couldn't do it legally. And he was trying to just make him vacate. I think he was just trying to scare him to make him leave on his own, and he was trying to make him leave his stereo equipment behind. And this was all during the pandemic. And so they felt like, oh, I could just make them leave. And if people vacate, people don't know that if you vacate, they have every right to whatever with your unit. And we try to tell people, when it is an eviction, don't go anywhere. And to what April was saying earlier about the legal ramifications, we always disclaim that we're not attorneys. We're just lived experience giving you options, that we have been through, and or if we don't know it, we're going to figure out how to, work together to make a solution. But again, like she said beforehand, it's not any help with the evictions. Then you start to see a tiny bit of help with it. But then now that the pandemic is over, that call center is no longer existent and or operational the way it should be. I haven't heard that anybody can call it. And I know when I applied for it, it took forever. And then they were like picky with what they gave. So
the disaster
the oversight.
Right. But you're specifically speaking about the programs geared towards the disaster recovery. Correct?
Right. That was a program that they put in place for disaster recovery. However, I wanted you guys to, since you don't really know about that program, I wanted to find out, how do you guys find, how would someone know where to go to find out that these types of programs exist? Is it the local Section 8 office, or is it your city hall? How do you find out about housing programs?
Well, from what we understand, according to HUD, every state and city should have a continuum of care within their like their public housing authorities. And so what the continuum of care is a network of supportive service providers, housing providers. And, they have people from like the Veterans Administration, mental health administrations, and they all come together to see how they're going to address the issues that affect the community as a whole in all of these areas. And so within that continuum of care, that's where they're also receiving that funding for the disaster recovery to issue it out to those organizations that were created to address those issues. And so one of the things that I think we're falling behind on as people is that we're not putting ourselves in a position to even qualify to be those service providers, because there's so much funding out there, and that's available, and funding to be housing developers, fundings to be service providers, all types of fundings to have to be a vendor to provide construction with the housing authorities. But we're not aware, and we're not putting ourselves together to have the capacity to do the work. So we sit in on these meetings, we hear all of these millions and millions of dollars being issued out to these people, but it ain't hardly our people in there. And I just want us to figure, finally come together and start educating ourselves, showing up at these meetings, get involved. And then that way we can connect and get our own coalitions and go get some of this funding to help our people the way we know they need to be helped.
But April, I want to play a video in reference to what you're talking about. And Kenneta was speaking about how she felt like they didn't treat y'all fair and what have you. And they kind of line up what you was talking about just now with the funding part. We're gonna play that just a little bit of it, because we drive it as an ad to advertise this live. And then I want y'all to speak on this.
I'm just observing with this, what we just spoke about, or what April just spoke about. It's clearly saying the Consumer Advisory Board here, and that was brushed over. I didn't hear anything about it. So just want to know more about our role, um, because a lot of times we're brushed over, but we're the most important piece in all of this work, and a lot of what we do on the ground with our lived experience being an enhanced asset in the community. We know what's going on the ground and all the people that are being missed. We know encampments, we know that, but it's so much more going on behind the scenes. And just as the chair, honestly, I could be real and say, I can't say how any other chair is treated, but I don't receive that I'm being treated equitably and heard. Or anytime you see this paperwork, you'll see how important the cab is. And I was going through like the different governance and the CLC booklet we got for orientation, and it clearly states throughout everything that we hear, every meeting I've been at, it has been said how important and needed the cab is. And again, we're just kind of like brushed under the rug, or when you come to seeing it here, or in some instances, it has been where we're supposed to present this, or even with us coming online, I don't know how many of you all even knew we were operational again. So to me, that's an issue. It doesn't feel good to be brushed over like that. I'm gonna be honest. And the communication of what, in my role, I have access to or not. The transparency is not there. We could say things are going great all day long, and things might be going great, but not for the cab. So I want to say that today, address it. I said it a year ago. We were sitting right in this room where it was it's a technical divide and it's a lived experience divide. Bringing that together ends homelessness for me. And being heard and not being treated a type of way or anything. And I'm being very nice about what I'm saying right now without putting it out there what's going on. And like I heard earlier about grievance processes, that's something I asked about when I first got here as well. So I would like to have the same support as any other chair gets. We can't hear you, Major.
My bad. Sorry,
There you
my
go,
bad.
bro.
Can you explain us what the setting was like? First, you did a great job. Like the way you articulated yourself. You really got your job. You really got your point across. And there's more to that video where she apologized and whatnot. But if anybody want to watch it, the full video is on the channel already. So you can check that out. But explain to people about the setting, where you was at, who you were speaking to, what it was all about. I know it's talking about y'all getting some kind of funding for what y'all doing, et cetera, et cetera. And you made a statement about bringing two things together that are in homelessness. Can you talk about that, please?
Yeah. So first of all, hearing that kind of it evokes a lot of emotion, because honestly, I was already kind of feeling the type of way before I got in the meeting. The meeting is called the Homeless Planning Commission. I'm a commissioner here in Nashville, Davidson County, as well as the Consumer Advisory Board chair. And so
which is part of the continuum of care.
Yeah, these are all under the continuum of care, the COC that April was talking about. And the COC is connected up to HUD. And so I'm on the board as a lived experience commissioner. And even to get on that board, I'm going to go to the beginning. It took 4 separate times of me applying or going through the nomination phase. And we have an ally that I always leave him nameless because he's helped us so much that is not us, right? And so I don't want to jeopardize anything that he has going on, because he's truly been a person that has looked out for April and I both. So he was even helping me to do my nomination. He helped rewrite it to like it looked like something that was a Nobel Peace Prize winning piece of literature once he got through with it. And they still told me no. And so what happened? What is that called when they do not a survey, but a research came out that they always paying these consultants $200K to do some type of research, right? And so when that came out, it says you need to get lived experience, and you don't got black people there. It's no diversity, equity, and inclusion, right? So as they hear this information back from their report that they got done, they reached out to me and asked if I wanted to apply again to be a commissioner. And at this point, I got some complex PTSD on the situation. I don't want to apply for nothing. I don't want to apply for jobs behind the scenes because y'all have been blocking me the whole while. And this is a racial thing. And so I told the people my response was, y'all do an anti-racism pledge. It should taste like boo-boo in your mouth. And after that, I was a commissioner and 6 other black people.
But still, even with her having that position, now she's, what is this, your second year?
Yeah.
And we're still having to jump. And this video was just recorded yesterday. Yesterday was that video. We're still encountering these barriers. And so like, when we say things like, when I hear people talking about separatism and stuff, I totally get it. But what I also get is that some of us are ready. Mm-hmm. Some of us are able to separate and go our separate ways, but some of us ain't. And my concern is that the ones of us that are not ready or not capable, they're left here at the mercy of these people that we know ain't gonna do right by them. So I'm
from experience,
right? And so my goal is we need to put ourselves in these agencies and boardrooms so that we can really hear what's going on and speak up. Yeah. Because if we don't,
it continues.
Ain't nothing gonna change.
Hey, but let me say this though, and I'm working on a project about Tyler Perry, how he changed the culture. The culture's been gradually changed. I think a lot of our communities getting impatient because of the fact that it's the way it is, right? But I do agree. I think two can work. I mean, I feel like we can chew bubblegum and talk at the same time, right? Yeah. But people can be over here and people can be over there, because sometimes you may need somebody over there to be able to reach out to and what have you. I'm not one starch on anything, right? Mm-hmm. I'm focused on what works for us right now. So a lot of it to me is I don't use the word forfeit so loosely, but it's down the line. Mm-hmm. So for me, it's like, yeah, that's work in practice. We can still focus on that. We got things around us we got to focus on too. So for me, I get that. I'm glad you said that. And I'm gonna let Cody come in with a question, what have you. But that definitely got to be understood that, like you say, some of us gonna be here in a situation where we gotta still operate. We still gotta understand what's going on. And and like I say, we are part of the fabric. We pay taxes and stuff. Our forefathers built this country and stuff. So I'm gonna let Cody answer a question.
And before you get started, Cody, I wanted to say one more thing as far as the Homeless Planning Commission and the work that we're doing on the Consumer Advisory Board. Right now, they just restarted the Consumer Advisory Board after us raising a lot of sin to say, look, that's the voice for the people. All these services y'all providing, without people to serve, you don't have a job, you don't have a purpose. So why would you not want to hear what the people have to say about the services and the care that they're receiving? And so that's what the Consumer Advisory Board is a platform for the formerly homeless and homeless to come and say, these are the issues that I'm encountering. And they've allowed us to be, like, I'm the policy and advocacy chair, she's the chair over it. But what we are experiencing is that within the community, because people have such biases about working with the housing authority or these agencies, nobody shows up. So we don't have anybody to come and support the CAB. And so we can't really get the response from them.
It's a morale issue.
And they told us today, like, before we can actually start accessing the funds that we need, we got to have more people to show up to show that we're actually effective in reaching people.
Wow.
So that's why we're trying to do this, to reach out.
Yeah.
And Kenneta, for my co-host coming, was you finished? Because I asked you kind of a broad question and what have you about the setting. Was you finished?
what I was talking about was missing, and that's the thing. I was being professional, as they say we're not capable of being, but I left it out. I negated what was really going on behind the scenes. We hadn't been paid. We just our as the saying goes, our cash app just went ding ding after having a fight for that. And I was telling them, as a chair, I'm pretty sure none of the other chairs have to wait on their deposit or in any manner. I'm sure they take care of it expeditiously and it's no issues. I can't say that. I don't know. I don't get that paycheck, but I'm just feeling like, why was I or both of us done like that?
It's a constant battle every step.
Yeah.
We try not to trash the system, but at the end of the day, they not as cooperative with us as they should be, considering we're out here on the ground doing this work. It's almost like they want you to work for free, like slavery is still going on, but we just here to remind them.
Well,
Yeah,
before
like
Coco to
that.
come in, yo, how y'all grassroots movement is and getting people coming? Because that's an issue around the country. A
Yeah.
lot of times we don't show up because, we know systemically things have been working against us. What have y'all been doing to try to get people to come in there, to support?
Speaking of today we well, not just today. We've been working with a few organizations. For one, I'm gonna give a shout out to Protecting Our People Tennessee. We're working on some things behind the scenes. Pop 10. We're working with My Brother's Keeper. What's that?
Yep,
My Brother's Keeper. They came to our CAB meeting today, and we're actually going to be going out to the local. Well, it's a encampment right around the corner from my house. That's next to a church. We're going to go out there Saturday to do outreach there, and we're going to do a toy drive. We're just trying to collaborate with the smaller organizations to see how we can work together. And what I've realized by doing that in a small scale is that we're learning so much, because like the lady from My Brother's Keeper, she's a financial
Advisor,
financial broker. And she brought to the CAB meeting today that she's got 200 beds available to help house the homeless. And so we're connecting her with the resources and the funding to get those people in those beds. And so we're doing a lot that we don't talk about publicly, because sometimes when you talk too much, you tell too much, and people can interfere with what you're trying to do. So it's like we got to do it first, and then we can talk about it. You know what I'm saying?
I call it a war room. That's what I call it. We gotta have a war room strategy, literally.
But we're doing it, and we're ready. And that's why I was like, I'm glad we waited to come together on this, so that we can really try to reach out and show, like, even though we do have some gripes, we're also at a point we've healed enough to where we're okay. I can forgive you, but I ain't forgot. But now let's work together.
Yeah.
And let me see how I can bring my people in now that I've learned the way to go about it.
Yeah. And I could say today was our CAB meeting. We both always do a reflection on how our CAB meeting went. And I could say, honestly, today was really good. The last meeting that we had was really good. We're doing an inventory of what we don't have, what we do have, and what do we need to put in the parking lot for later or down the road. So it really went, and I'm looking forward to 2024. And like I said, they went ahead and paid us. So we want to be optimistic, but we're not. Yeah.
Oh, we done tapped in. That's what I'm saying. We finally done tapped into where we can actually get them to. It ain't a lot, but acknowledge us for what we're doing. You know what I'm saying?
I'm just saying it's the fact that y'all making headway. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You'll never be satisfied because you know what they're doing. But I applaud, because at least y'all that's a little progress. It's not something to be happy and drinking and celebrate. Y'all know y'all making headway. And first, I want to thank everybody watching this live. We have my co-host Cody that's on here. We got the beautiful ladies, Kenneta, April, and they with Community Bridges. Cody, what's your question? Please like and share this live. Please. We got some cooking tonight.
It's okay.
So you mentioned the National Low Income Housing Coalition, and I recently watched a video, and they spoke to the issue of paying those individuals who are actually out there doing the work, boots on the ground, and how they have a high turnover rate because individuals are not being paid adequately enough. They're on the brink of being homeless themselves, right? And Ms. Kenneta, you spoke to being homeless and still working for the, I don't know if you're working for the coalition or just working in the capacity as an advocate for the homeless. So how can you guys bridge the gap between the advocacy office and organizations such as the housing authority, that's in basically every major city, right? How can you form, let me ask you this, are you forming relationships with the housing authority to identify those who are at risk of being homeless because of multiple landlord violations or what have you, or a loss of income, or just being, at risk of being displaced? Can you work with the public authority, or is that something that's out of your preview?
That's who pays us now. That's who get
the public
Right.
authority.
we get our pay. We get paid through the Metro MDHA, the Public Housing Authority.
It's called
So-
public housing work.
Okay, so when you mentioned that you can't get individuals to come in, is it a way that you can advocate or get like a list of those people who are on their roster for receiving benefits to help come in to help support your causes or even volunteer in your organization?
Well, that was a big part of our conversation today.
Okay.
They had the what is April, the executive director of our Office of Homeless Services there. She had her team of all of the housing navigators and the caseworkers. We had landlord engagement. Like, we had all of the social service providers. After that recording of where she put them all on blast at that meeting yesterday, everybody showed up to the meeting today. So anyway,
all right.
she brought them out. Like, I had to give her a high five on that.
Very good.
But what the conversation was them telling us how to go about forming our individual resident associations and how to actually reach out to the housing choice voucher recipients so that we can start bringing them in. And that was major for me, for them to sit down with us and pinpoint what we need to do to make it work. And so I felt very encouraged after today's meeting. And then we're moving forward this weekend. It's rolling now.
Oh, and today also I have to give a shout out to National Alliance of End Homelessness, because their executive director of lived experience is coming to help us basically put everything into perspective in how we can do different campaigns and how do we get paid, because that's what he was saying. At the end of the day, we need to be compensated for our work. And he's going to be giving us the solidification of how to put everything together from, I guess, his director perspective, and how we can plug everything in perfectly. So,
So, and with that being said, you're speaking of getting grant funding and helping you fund throughout the year rather than waiting on a check from the housing authority.
How to turn it sustainable.
Well, but I believe really what his main goal is to help us strengthen and solidify our consumer advisory board.
Yes.
That way we have it fully functioning so that we can get the capacity and then bring in all of the different funding sources. But what that also does, like with today, we were able to have a conversation on how we can use our for-profit businesses to work with nonprofits to do this work, and that way we can get paid to provide as a vendor. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, ma'am.
And
yes,
so
ma'am. All day long.
If we're not having these conversations, we can't learn what's necessary
or what's out there. Yep.
But I was going to say this right quick, and then I'm gonna let you finish your questions, Ms. Achoti. The National Alliance to End Homelessness, they were the ones that did that article that you had originally sent me about homelessness. And I just wanted to pinpoint that, they have contracted with MDHA to help us. So we have a national organization that is working hand in hand with us, with our CAB, to do what we need to strengthen us so that we can be successful in what we're doing. They're also doing the conference in 2024 that we will be attending in California. So I'm very encouraged about the future. Like, it's taken 5 years for us to get to this point, to finally for them to be listening or at least acknowledging us.
Yeah.
And so I'm just looking forward to the future, but I want to make sure the rest of the people know,
Yeah.
you know, like we got to get involved, and the more of us together working together, they'll listen bigger. I mean, like we'll make a bigger impact.
Mm-hmm.
Well, congratulations to both of you for making headway on this issue. So let's switch gears and talk about the ethical issues behind homelessness.
Mm-hmm.
How put that into perspective for individuals, because when I think about ethics, I think about, just the way of living or how you should treat one another, being morally correct. Is there anything I'm missing with that? And does the ethics of homelessness, does it have anything to do with human rights, in your opinion?
We both got something to say on that one. I'll let April go first.
Well, I think I even included some of that on my website as far as the homelessness and how that is a human rights violation. Everybody has the right to decent housing, and when we don't have people holding our property owners accountable, when the housing authority and the codes people are not enforcing the codes rules and stuff, like people are homeless not because they didn't pay rent, but a lot of times because their unit failed the inspection and nobody made the landlord make the repairs.
Wow.
So I know that was both times of my homelessness, it came behind me reporting habitability violations. And instead of them making the landlord make the repairs, I ended up evicted and homeless. It wasn't because I didn't pay my rent.
Mm-hmm. And then they turn around and fight the tenant.
And so that's a whole problem here. And so that's why I went on my YouTube channel. I did a video a while back about the fact that homelessness is a government created crisis, in my opinion, because they could fix it and prevent it, but we don't have, like, say for instance, legal aid. They don't have enough attorneys to actually provide the assistance that's needed. On top of that, the cases that they do take, they're only going to do so much. They're not going to really challenge those landlords or the housing authority for violating your housing rights or your disability. They're not going to challenge them on those things. Yes. So if you don't have your own attorney or know how to file these claims on your own, you're not going to get the justice that you really deserve. So it's a human rights violation, in my opinion.
We have caught them working together with the opponent against the tenant, together with the other lawyers.
As a matter of fact, as if you go back, this is something that I noticed, and that's what I had to really think about with my nonprofit organization. What we don't realize is a lot of time when you get grant funding, it comes with stipulations. And a lot of these fair housing agencies that get funding, like the Tennessee Fair Housing Council, within their grant, that agreement to do the service, they can't sue the government. So if you have a gripe against the government,
nothing they can do.
They're going to tell you they can't help you. They're going to make up whatever excuse. We don't handle this type of case. We don't, just because it's a conflict of interest, because the government is who funds them, is who pays them. So it's like you challenging your boss. But
so what about arbitration and mediation? There's none of that in regards to addressing these grievances.
Well, what we found out today was a very good meeting. The Office of Homeless Services has a landlord engagement program. So, for instance, if a landlord houses someone that has been formerly homeless and then they have issues with them maintaining and upholding their lease, the landlord can contact the Office of Homeless Services to have them help them fix that situation or to address this issue with the tenant. But what we realize is that there's no direct line for the tenant. Like if the tenant has a problem with the landlord, there's nobody for that tenant to call. And so that's why we are here trying to be that resource. But again, without support, it's like they don't really want to hear what we have to say solutions, because then it's going to hold them accountable.
Mm-hmm. So let me help me understand, because I'm a property manager, and I've, over the course of my tenancy as a property manager, I've had several clients that were on Section 8 public housing, right? So if I, as the landlord, property manager, didn't go in and fix issues within the home, then the public housing authority would withhold payment to the landlord, And because we required everyone to be under a 12-month lease minimum, the landlord could not put that tenant out. Does that work the same way in Tennessee?
It sounds like y'all had tenant protections there. It's
Yeah,
some
tenant rights is very, very high.
what we don't have here, and that's what we're pushing for, specifically tenant protections. We don't have that here. It was not a right to counsel until we said something about it. When April was homeless and went to Texas, she went to a policy link conference and brought up right to counsel. And until then, it's like it didn't come back to the city until after they heard it from a tenant, and they tried to pretend like it was here all along. And it's not anything that really exists. And now that it's in the courts, but okay, still, how do you plug the people into it and it not be a situation where, like, we just had a tenant that went to talk to legal aid. We sent her to legal aid, and by the time they got through with her, she left crying. Like, really, I'm very hurt and I'm ready to fight this man because he treated me like nobody. And that's what happens. So
we were on Kenneta was doing some runs to get ready for this call, but I was on a statewide call for Tennessee Safe Homes, where they're talking about presenting policies to the legislation. The Day on the Hill is coming up in February, and one of the issues that I think somebody from Memphis had brought up is that we have laws like the Uniform Residential Landlord and Tenant Act. There's laws within that, but the enforcement of it, like, you can have a law, but if nobody's going to enforce the law, what good does it do to have the law?
That's up to the judge. The judge is the one that's supposed to be enforcing.
And they're not doing that here. The judges are working with the landlords. Tennessee is a very landlord-friendly state. Tenants don't got a leg to stand on. It's hard, and so that's why it's really important for us to start collaborating and joining together so that we can have a voice. And today's call, it was a statewide call. We had I think it was about 20 people on there today, but it's a handful of us on there, but it need to be more of us on there.
Well, yeah.
So Major, did you have any other questions?
Oh yeah, I have questions, of course, but I want to thank everybody viewing. We have April, we have Kenneta on Community Bridges. We definitely trying to get their story out, their movement out. And it's personal because I've been knowing April for a couple of years. And when she told me they got paid, I remember in her emphasis of talking about how she said, I won't get paid what I'm doing because I'm trying to help the people and so forth, so on. And to see that you're getting paid, I'm so proud. I'm very, very happy. My heart is full because
overly deserved.
April is one of the countless people that contact Major TV, and people ain't know we was even communicating. Like you say, help with that website, what have you. I've always had that giving spirit and want to help, what have you, but it touched me because she one of the people that I connected way back when I started my channel, and to see her flourish like she's doing. I'm so proud of you, for real. But I'm a compound my question, for real. I don't want to get too emotional. I'm gonna be all right. But
I'm with you, Major. I feel you.
I mean, she's come a long way, no problem. Let's address the youth homeless crisis as well as the dangers of homelessness. Both of y'all kind of like give me a touch of that. The youth being homeless as well as the danger of it.
Okay. Youth homelessness. Well, that's another baby of mine too. Because being that my first experiences of homelessness was like when I was 9 years old. And what I know to be true is that when we don't nip that in the bud and we don't fix that before it has a boomerang effect, then it's likely to repeat itself. Because when you're not brought up on stability and you don't have that structure, it's hard to know how to create that as an adult moving forward. And so right now we have a crisis with youth homelessness, not only just in general youth, but like the foster care system, children aging out of the foster care system. We got a whole area of issue with the LGBTQ youth, that because they face a lot of discrimination within regular homeless service providers and stuff. But I just did a research paper, and for the city of Nashville, I think their homeless students program said they have at least 3,000 students a year that are reporting as being homeless. So that's just the ones that's reporting themselves, and that's just here in Nashville. So nationwide, we got a whole problem, and it's not really been talked about. It doesn't only affect them as far as like, you know, having somewhere to live, but what we don't realize is that a lot of times when they don't have a place to go home to, that's pushing them out into the streets, that's pushing them out into the gangs, that's pushing them out to drugs, that's pushing them out to sex trafficking, that's pushing them out to a lot of things that are a problem. But then we act like we're gonna go fix that, but we're not addressing the root, which is housing.
They need a home.
A home is where it all starts.
Yeah. And I think with the children's situation, the whole situation overall is profit over people. But I want to bring awareness to how the children feel and all of this at all. That conversation is not being had. The trauma that the children are facing, even following up with them on mental care after a homeless situation.
And talk briefly. I want to talk about mental care because I don't see it in our questions, but definitely talk about the mental health with this as well.
Yeah, the mental ramifications. I know in every single situation that we had, I don't think that my children even had a chance to recover from it. The last time we were homeless in the pandemic, and during that stay, we were being bullied by family. You know, the type of thing you hear in our community where people write their names on the food in the refrigerator type of thing. And I'm community minded. I don't care what I got. We all gonna eat. I put food together to make a meal with my community. So that's how I think. So when it comes down to that, it's like a person just looking out for themselves. That's not how I operate. So standing at home with that, we ended up being bullied by family, and just my children had to be separated. My oldest ones had to go different places and stay because again they were being bullied. The smaller ones were at home, and with the pandemic, we had to be virtual. It was a caseworker that took the opportunity to tell me. I was just telling this story to the cab earlier today of how he took pleasure in telling me that his wife worked for truancy, and if we didn't cut our cameras on, that he was going to gladly report me to her and she was going to have a field day with me. That's what a caseworker told me. So we talk about the ethicalness of it, and just that's trauma for me as a mother. I'm thinking first thing went through my head, they trying to take my kids because I can't cut on the camera because it's uninhabitable, because I'm living in my mom's garage, and I'm still at this point operating the whole nonprofit and everything behind the scenes. That's where the homeless CEO was born. And I'm like, I have to tell these stories because people don't know behind the scenes. Then you'll get people that say you're complaining. No, I just want you to be aware of what's going on. And also my story is going to give strength to the next person to be able to speak up. And so I feel a type of way about the kids in the situation, and that we should hear them, especially for solutions. And in addition to that, I have so many younger moms. When I try to introduce a resource to them, the first thing they'll say is, I don't want them people in my business. And I think, okay, what I'm bringing, I try to connect to things that are no harm, which I get where they're coming from, where they don't want to even talk to the people and waste their time talking to them because of the morale behind, receiving social services, just like I explained that situation happening. And that man that said that was a manager in the social services office. So,
Kenneta, I got this question though. Have you gotten any help for your kids? And do y'all provide help or send people who are suffering with mental care or mental health issues due to homelessness?
So we're just now about to get help. I'm in I work for Our Chance Tennessee program. Is through the it's like a grant from the Tennessee Department of Human Services. And so working with them, where they just did my making sure my 10 care was good so that my family can start to get therapy. And it's like a finally thing This was back, that's been 3 years, and I didn't have the capacity really to try to stop and do it myself for being so enthralled in the work and, trying to get everything and not being able to move out of that nucleus position of, all these things are spinning around me as somebody that's a leader while homeless. And in addition to that, something even more tragic happened during the pandemic. My baby brother was murdered.
Sorry to hear that.
This is when I was staying at my mom's, and it just, again, like, everybody was just so devastated. And April and I both have had several family members leave here in, tragic manners, like hospice care, like
Sorry to hear that.
yeah. And so in the midst of that, while we were dealing with that, we were still fighting. And also you still had the providers fighting you, just like I explained with that one gentleman. And it's been many instances of that. It could be one day I had 3 people attack me in one day, and it was like none of them know that they're doing it at the same time. And you just harping on this one person that's trying to, do better things for the community and make sure that at the end of the day, people have permanent homes.
I'm so sorry to hear that.
I just want to tie in the youth, the mental health, how homelessness affects both. I'm going to use my youngest daughter, as an example. When we lost housing the last time, she had to go back to Knoxville, and she was in between my mom's house, my dad's house, and my oldest daughter's house. And this was during the time my dad was fighting stage 4 prostate cancer. This is before I had moved back there and was helping him before he passed away. But in the midst of not having a place to live, like, we got evicted in the beginning of her 9th grade year, and we didn't get housed again until the beginning of this year. So she was homeless the whole time during high school and staying in between different places. But being there with my dad, watching him like diminish and basically watching him die, that along with everything, just being an adolescent and in the middle of trying to go to school during the pandemic, where everything was isolated and nobody was able to show their face. It was a lot of mental strain going on with the children. And so she became severely clinically depressed and was having a lot of panic attacks, and became to where she started self-harming and having suicidal thoughts. And so at this point, me being who I am and having the background that I have, like, I'm like, you can hurt me, but you can't hurt my baby. Yes. And so like that's when I'm gonna kick in overdrive. Like, my pride, we're gonna set that aside. I'm gonna go talk about it. So at this point, I got very loud. I think that was part of when I refiled my lawsuit against HUD and everybody, about 10 people. But the point is, once I went and started speaking up about what she was experiencing and took her to get help, that's when all of the resources flooded open. And it's kind of sad because we couldn't get no help with housing until my daughter was ready to end her life. So I just want to show that's deep.
Ready in her life.
She was self-harming. She was cutting. She was trying to die. She wanted to die.
How's she doing right now?
Oh, she's in great honors. I mean, on the dean's list in her 2nd year of college and studying psychology, by the grace of God. And so that's why I'm saying, like, there's so much more to this than what we're paying attention to. And our children, we got to really, they suffering the most. And if we're not able to talk about what we're experiencing and how to deal with our feelings, what are we teaching them kids? And if we bickering and arguing and we just gonna melt down, they watching us. Yeah. So now we got to stand firm, and we have to keep fighting and going after what we know we need. Yeah. And so I'm just grateful that she is still here, and she's turned it around 360. But the resources are out there. But unfortunately, it takes us being ready to give up on life before we can get access to it.
Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, I salute you, sisters, for your commitment to helping our people in being strong and being the strength. They had a question in a comment saying, in the comment section saying, you know, where are the men in the community? What's it like being in Nashville and having to stand up for families? Are there no men around?
Well, for one, okay, I'm married. My husband is disabled from a car accident that we had, but he's got a permanent brain injury. But Kenneta's married. And we do also on the boards that we sit on, there are a few men that are there. But again, because from what I understand, the trauma that they've experienced, men, they done had it a lot harder than the women. We've had it hard, but they done been beat down in so many different ways. It's like,
and not able to express it.
Right, they silenced to a point. And so we do every now and then we'll have a male show up that's new to the cab meeting or whatever. But that's the goal too. To that, and that was another reason why I reached out to the different organizations. We have to start meeting each other where we are so that we know that it's okay to be honest about what you're going through, because there's a lot of people homeless that just ain't telling you they homeless. A lot of times we can go to the gym and spend a lot of time at the gym because we ain't really got nowhere else to go.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
And
so
for this 24/7.
You got a place to shower at the gym. You pay $10, $20 a month. You got somewhere you can go that's going to keep you warm during the winter, cool during the summer. You really have to start thinking about what. Yeah.
I done seen people in storage units.
It's huge. And so because we've been there.
Yeah.
Storage units.
Yeah, they'll turn the storage unit and close that door and have a way. I don't know how they running the electricity.
They ain't supposed to. They ain't supposed to.
Yeah.
But I can say that during times when I was in my car,
creative,
I would go and take a longer time than what I needed to inside of there because it was the temperature regulated.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I have a couple more questions. I'm gonna let Cody take off. I want y'all to address about systemic retaliation, because y'all say y'all was gonna go and y'all want to talk. I remember Kenneta say, "Oh, when I get the systemic retaliation, talk about that."
So you want me to go first on that? So my retaliation started, I would say, again, that's back at the story where April and I met. We started to figure out the things that was going on behind the scenes. And these organizations, it's kind of like a mob type of thing to me, to be honest. I'm going to be 1,000,000% real with you, because it's that the first thing I was told when I found when I was found to become an organizer was that those people were not white saviors. And at the end of the day, that's what they were trying to be. And
these are white organizations, predominantly white organizations. Okay.
And they look for black people to be the face of it.
This is going on in behind the scenes, and a lot of nonprofits, they use us, our backs, to be able to get that funding. And I can tell you evidence and factually that happened, because I was a part of the grants team. That would be on the phone to articulate. That's how I began publicly speaking, because they taught me how to.
Wow.
So, but to a deficit.
Y'all telling some real secrets.
Yeah.
Right.
Only to a deficit, I could only do it the way they wanted me to then. So it was like you have this hold on me, and I didn't even know. And so when April came to play, I was at the point where I started to get gaslit. They were sending other tenants to fight me, literally, in the tenant organization that I was the organizer for. And what we did with that tenant union, it was an apartment complex that got sold for $20 million, the same situation like April's. And that's a tactic they use. LIHTC credits, when they expire, developers will follow that. And they expire in 30 years. Once they do, they can get rid of all the people, do a mass eviction real quiet, and they could start selling those units for market rent at that point. We figured out what was going on, not early enough for me to be saved or my place to be saved, right? But I came back in the community to fight. So like if you type in my name in Google, you're gonna see this whole thing, the newspaper articles, everything. It was over 40 articles they had done on me, magazines, done travel nationally. When we went to Atlanta, I was on the CNN news on the steps of Atlanta talking in the bullhorn. So
the town hall or what is
that was the trilingual conference I was telling you about. And so all this stuff, and once they felt, I guess I got too big for my britches, I don't know. And
she started following the money. She was asking about the dollars and they ain't like it.
That and also they began to tell me as I'm traveling and getting the word out about the organization, I'm doing some major outreach, growing this thing. Like people are coming and like it's viral videos on online. I didn't know that you could pay for that, and that's what they was doing in the background. And I'm like thinking, I'm like, okay, your girl is like, I didn't know whatever, but April brought it to my attention that I was being gaslit. I had no idea what that was at that time. And just all the happenings that was happening, it was like,
how long ago? What long your time period it was? How long ago was that?
I worked from them starting 2016. All of this started like the retaliation part 2018.
No, I'm talking how long you been doing all this stuff with them?
2016.
And when you met April told you about that.
Well, it just was happenstance. And we went out to breakfast one morning and I'm trying to figure out in my head, what did I do to these people? I'm just trying to really examine, and it was driving me almost insane to the point where, like she said, it can end your life. Like the stress was about to take me out, literally. I had no idea what I was doing to those folks, why they flipped on me when, you're made a black token at first.
Let me explain. Let me give my view of what happened with Kenneta at this time when I came in and what I saw.
Yeah.
She was actually trying to help me with the fight that I was dealing with at my apartment complex
in another county.
And they had their eyes on an organization that were a tenant association that was starting in one of the rural counties. So they felt like Kenneta should have been focusing on that issue,
not an individual,
not just this one. But and what they did, they tried to like critique her approach to organizing to the point that they were saying she wasn't doing the work. They were saying she wasn't doing the work, but
I wasn't over there with them
because she wasn't doing what they wanted her to do. She was doing great as long as she was doing what they told her to do specifically. But as soon as she started saying, "Hey, but what about my people?"
Mm-hmm.
Then it was a problem. She was good until she wasn't good. You see what I'm saying?
So they was focused more on helping homeless white people as opposed to homeless. Wow.
Right.
I hope people hearing this. We already know systemically how things are, but I hope people are hearing this.
Yeah. The priority was, and that's why I was saying I remember the day that April was evicted. I remember her baby walking up. I remember seeing the people come. And my worst fear with an eviction is they gonna try to break your stuff, because that's what I grew up seeing. My grandmother's beautiful antique bed that she passed down to me got broke just viciously and maliciously. That's how they do when they evict you. And so I remember they wouldn't help us. They were a couple blocks down in another county, and her eviction started happening. And my first thought was, I'm about to go live, like so we could like get some eyes on this. And April was like, no. And
I was a little private then. I was like, I don't want everybody. This is before I started doing this big,
She just now getting in the game. She like, oh heck no, we ain't doing that. And so it just was so stressful. I remember having to lay down in the U-Haul. I couldn't even help her put her stuff in the car. And we had another gentleman that we were helping that was also facing issues with one of the ministries that he was living in. They was putting bleach in his room and everything. Listen,
Who was doing that?
The people that was living there, service providers.
So as a result, to brings the full context and get clarity, they use as a puppet, right? They use a puppet, put a black face on it, got white people running, and then they want you to focus on the other side of the track that was dealing with white people being homeless versus you was doing with April, a melanated sister. As a result, that's when systemic retaliation kicked in? Explain that.
Well, and then in my opinion, this is when now at this before she started helping me, Kenneta was the only paid organizer that they had within that organization. After she chose to start helping me, they found a reason to furlough her, stopped her pay, was about to dissolve the organization.
No, they did. They dissolved it after we helped.
Well, that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Before they dissolved it totally, they was like they were out. Nobody had managed the budget, and that's why they got mad.
What happened to the money? What happened to the money? You said you manage the budget, but I know we getting ahead of this, so I'm gonna let y'all finish talking.
Yeah, that's what,
yeah. So that's the thing. Like when what really made me start questioning things is when they put Kenneta over the financing of that project, and she didn't really have any finance background to even understand what to be looking for, what to pay attention to. And so
it was me and another person. That was the point, because it was me and a gentleman, and he told them how uncomfortable he was dealing with finances. He was like, "This ain't my lane, and I don't want to." And so he was on.
They wanted you to be the, They wanted you to be the phone. They wanted y'all to be the fall guy for the, so they could say that's the reason why the organization failed.
Mm-hmm. And I was like,
this appropriation.
And that's when I came in. It was like divine timing when we met up, because when I start looking at it, and I'm all about numbers, I'm like, something ain't adding up here. Like, we need to question this. And as soon as she start questioning it, they started trying to vote her out. They found her. They had a whole tribunal, all these people to vote her, and just was like on her. And so when I saw them attacking her like that, a whole board of the same people that was praising her at one point, same people that put her out
Babylon had done failed.
They came hard, and I was like, no, I'm not gonna watch this happen. And I didn't even know her like that. We had just met like 6 months ago, but I was like, that could be me. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And I knew what that felt like with the way they came at me and evicted me. So there's a sense of loyalty
with that same organization. They just watched. I went and got the U-Haul and the storage, made sure they were straight in that manner. And we called them. We on the phone like, this is happening. Come help us. They like, well, we ain't got nothing to do with that. We ain't tell you be over there no way.
But let me tie something up right quick. I'm gonna throw this in there and then I'm gonna be quiet for a second. What the beautiful part out of all of what happened right before they dissolved, after they furloughed her, they did give us the opportunity to rebuild and to get their finances or their money together. So what me and her did by ourselves from October to December of 2018?
I think up to 2019.
October, it was October, November, two months. Me and Kenneta went around and did our outreach to these donors, the funders and donors and stuff. And we was able to raise almost $100,000 for this organization. With that same story. But before you clap, we couldn't even get them to give us gas money to go out here and do that out of that money. So they chose to dissolve the organization after we did all that work.
Yeah. So
and threw it away.
Your guess is good as ours.
So I'm just telling you the things.
So wait a minute. Wait. Whoa. What happened to the $100,000?
We sent out.
Your guess is good as ours.
But we did reach out to all of those donors and let them know what was going on, so that we didn't get no blame for it. Because what they did was they put us in a position of, you're going to be over this part of it, you're going to be over the finances, you're going to be over the outreach, you're going to be over this. So they gave us these roles, and in the middle of us taking on those responsibilities without pay, we learned a lot. And so that's the stuff that, like, although it was sad, it was bad that it happened. Like when I look at the value of what I gathered, all that information, like I know what a grant looks like now, because I've seen how they get their grants. I see this paper. I know what needs to be done. But it's about us having the capacity and the manpower. But to wrap it all the way back around, to show the growth, those same organizations that did that back then, they've revamped and they named themselves something else. But we're working with those organizations and our own like, we're not part of them, but we're coming in to network, because at the end of the day, if you got access to what we're trying to get access to, like the same way you used us, let us ride on your coattail right quick.
Yeah.
That's where
So-
I'm at with it. I'm
And
gonna be
that's
honest.
where the blocking came from too, across the board. We couldn't apply for jobs.
They blacklisted us.
She was at a dang 30 minutes from a job interview. They realized who the flip she was, I guess, and it was over with. Oh,
I done
we
went
made
through
a
3
mistake. My
interviews.
bad, sorry.
3 interviews, I done nailed it. Bow, bow, bow. And then
3
they realized who
rounds.
they said it's a conflict of interest with your organization. We might be competing for funding. Little old me. And here you are, a major organization. And I was referred to that organization to apply from another nonprofit that I had worked for. So if it was a conflict, they would have never hired me at the other nonprofit. But anyway,
And why do we have 3 rounds of interviews?
they knew what we were coming with. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Look, Corey, I'm gonna one question. Let Corey do the whatever question she wanted, rapid fire questions. But the last question gonna be proposed answers to homeless crisis in America. What are your answers to the proposed problems with homeless in America?
My solution
From both of y'all too.
Huh?
From both of y'all.
Okay. You want to go?
You go.
Okay. My answer to that is community, and for us to actually start working together so that we can build strong units and coalitions, so that we can be service providers, so that we're making sure that we give our people the services and supports that they need.
Hold up. You working together. You talking about the Black community? You talking about people in general?
I'm starting with the Black community.
Well, you need to say that then.
The Black.
Us.
Black folks, for one, because we are what's the word?
Underrepresented.
Yeah, we are disproportionately represented as far as when it comes to the percentages of homelessness and the percentage of people living in poverty. Even though it's more white people, it's more of us that are disadvantaged. And so we are the ones in need of the services more. I'm not saying they don't need it, but they got a lot of support and help. Mm-hmm. And all of these, what we've had to do, such as linking up with the National Alliance to End Homelessness and the National Low Income Housing Coalition and these other organizations that are ran by other people, we have to do that because it's not very many of our organizations, Black-led, that are actually willing to do the real work. Because what we experience is that a lot of times, just to get that funding, they're going to ignore certain things because they don't want to upset the status quo. You know what I'm saying? And so we can't, in order to stand true on what we standing for, we got to be careful with who we connect with, right? And at what capacity? Because we've been there before, allowing ourselves to be used as puppets and all that stuff. And we're not doing that no more. So what we're trying to do is to figure out how we can gain access without giving our total selves to them and signing a contract with them to be tied into that. But at the same time, being in a position to get our people together. Yeah. And so that's why I was really impressed with the interview, the video you did the other day, Cody, with the different organizations. Because like, it's not that one organization or the other is any better than the other, but we need to strengthen those so that we have that platform, because we don't really have, to be honest, the NAACP ain't for us no more. They done basically said that. You know what I'm saying? The urban league, those places have been whitewashed, watered down. You're not really gonna get no real help there. Yeah. So we're gonna have to recreate some organizations that's gonna actually work for us. And that's why I'm willing, I don't care who it is. If I see you really doing the work, I'm gonna support you. Yeah. No matter which kind of way it is. I might not have a lot, you know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna try to help in any way I can. So to me, that's the answer to that, is us coming together so that we can be the solution for ours first, and then maybe after we get our people together, then we can help the other people. But yeah, I'm about my people for right now, because ain't nobody looking out for us.
We don't have the head start that everybody else
I get excited, y'all have to overlook me.
No. Also, and my answer to that is I always say profit over people. Is a game of Monopoly that's been played with our lives for so long, and we never got that $200 that everybody else got to start with. So at the end of the day, I want to see no harm, and I want to see people be able to get into permanent housing by way of having their own businesses and being able to be sustainable. I want to teach them how to fish so they never hunger again. Is the point at the end of the day, giving people the tools. I feel like money is a tool. I'm not so crazy about money that that it becomes the root of evil for me. I
But
I
we need it
haven't
to get
had
work
it
done.
before. We've experienced poverty and we done made it. Without it. However, we do need the tool in order to do what we need to do here on this earth plane. And I found something while I was researching called earth ships. And that is something that I want to do like as a blueprint here and take it across the whole nation. And if you look up earth ships, they are self-sustainable, smart homes, that type of thing where you're using the earth around you to sustain your home. Like that's how your light bill gonna be. You ain't gonna be paying a light bill because we got the climate, those little fans outside, or the solar panels. Like my thing is being innovative, and also having that safe, decent, sanitary, affordable housing. So just at the end of the day, everybody deserves that at base.
And I'm gonna piggyback on her before you say something major, because when she said that, it made me think about the solution. We connected this together through a project that we have labeled the H3 triage. That's the housing, health, and humanity triage. We gotta address all three areas in order to actually successfully address the homelessness situation. We can't just house people and then don't provide them the supportive services. And then we can't just provide them the housing and supportive services when we're not making sure that their health, whether it be mental, physical, all of that, their whole holistic health needs to be taken care of. And that comes with diet, fitness, because health is wealth now. And most of us, when we're out here and homeless, we don't have the healthy foods that we need. We living in food deserts. So a lot of times you're just eating a lot of crap.
I want to be farming. That's a part of those earth.
But look, first and foremost, before I turn it over to Cody, I want to first give y'all applaud. Applaud y'all touch me. Trust me, I really love what y'all doing. Y'all really spitting that fire. Y'all coming from, y'all covering everything. And when I say everything, not in detail, but you're touching everything, right? And today I'll make y'all official residents of Major TV. So y'all can come on whenever y'all want to come on. Y'all have any breaking news. Y'all have any information that y'all need to get to the people. What have you. I want y'all, if it's every week, cool. If I can get to your call to get to you, or we'll both get to you, but we need this. We talk so huge and big, and there be a lot of small things in our community, grassroots wise, we don't even support.
Yeah.
And we far disconnect with the messaging with the people, and we don't need that no more.
Yeah.
So I just want to thank y'all. All praise the Most High for what y'all doing. Keep doing what y'all doing for everybody viewing. Man, y'all have to definitely support these sisters and whatnot. Cash App is in the description, but I'm gonna let Cody take over and handle it.
Well.
So, Miss April, you mentioned H3 triage, and I like that concept. Tell me again, is health, homelessness, and what?
Housing,
health, homes, and
housing, health, and humanity.
And humanity. Okay.
Yeah, because it's
and so you guys did an excellent job. Oh, go ahead.
No, did you have a question about it, or what? I'm sorry, I spoke up before you.
No, I wanted you to go ahead and expound upon that. H3 triage, health, housing, and humanity. You say because it's like what now?
Yeah, a full circle, like you're hitting all angles necessary, because a lot of times we think we can just fix it with putting someone in housing, and then they only last in that housing for a short while because some of their other needs are not being met.
Yeah.
And I feel like if we can be more hands-on with our people, it takes a community, it takes a village.
Yeah.
The same way when you're raising children, it takes a village to raise a child. When you're dealing with
adults,
same way, when you're dealing with people who that are vulnerable and are struggling, Like you really have to spoon feed them in certain situations,
Yeah.
Or meet them where they are. And if they're struggling in a certain area, like I remember at one time when I was at a when I first moved to Nashville, and I was in this transitional housing program. I remember one of the ladies being evicted or put out of the program because she didn't know how to keep her house clean and together. And you know, a lot of times we ain't nobody if we ain't had nobody really teach us
You don't
how
know.
to maintain a house, you don't know. And so we've been penalized and torn down for something that we never had access to. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like even though you can assume that, oh, they should know this, everybody don't know what you know. You know what I'm saying? And so I think we really need to just have a resource to meet people where they are, and client-centered services, and with the housing, health, and humanity, that would cover all of those areas, so that we can, if it's a healthcare situation that you're dealing with, we're gonna connect you with those service providers or make sure you get that assistance. If it's housing, we're gonna make sure you get that assistance. Also spiritually,
Yeah.
because there's a lot of people struggling out here with their mental because of them struggling with trying to figure out where their place is in the world.
Period.
Who to believe, who to follow. It's just so much division, and I think we need to get centered into understanding, like, we all part of this world together, and we got to learn to live in it together. You know what I'm saying? So for now,
I feel like, to what April was saying too, we consider ourselves peer solutionists. So across the board, again, like I said, we give that disclaimer: we're not attorneys. We're giving you options that we have lived through. And so we had one person, she's one of the homeless planning commissioners, and she was saying how she didn't know how to operate a thermostat. So something like that, we would be able to continue to teach our people within our program and curriculum, just everyday things, cleaning up, housekeeping class, or, and cooking or anything like that, you have to do to operate your home and make it, like you said, a holistic place. So
I know Cody take doing that thing. I want to add too. Y'all dealing with financial literacy too.
actually, yes,
yeah, we
our
just
partner.
connected with a partner that we're going to be over at the homeless encampment with. She's a financial broker, and we're finally teaming up. You know what I'm saying? Because we don't have, like, I'm still getting my finances and stuff together, but I'm able to say I can go over here and get and connect with this person, and she's going to help me fill in the missing pieces. You know what I'm saying? For instance, one of the things that she brought to my attention, which was something I need, is that she's got, you know how Legal Shields will help. You can pay, like, I'm just going to say $20 a month for access to an attorney, for small situations that you may need a consultation about or whatever. She has a thing where she has access to an attorney to help people with probate matters. And for our people, we are dealing with a lot of herbs property where, like, our grandparents or somebody left us property, but it's got, like, you and your cousin and two of the three cousins on there, and everybody's name is on that deed. But if nobody ever gets it taken care of the right way, we end up losing that property, because the city will come in and they'll take it for tax or whatever. They'll find a reason to take it.
Yeah.
But we getting access to attorneys to help us with that. Yeah. And for me, that's key. And I would love to eventually figure out how to connect our organizations to figuring out how to start up endowments. Because, for instance, when I was at the Salvation Army, I sat in on one of their meetings, and what I heard is the Salvation Army has an endowment program to where when people die, if they have land that they don't want to leave to their children, or if they don't have no family, Salvation Army getting that land. Why we ain't putting ourselves in position to make sure we cover our people? That way we have choices in these matters. And, because if I know several of my family members that are getting older now, that's like second cousins, they have land. They ain't got no kids. They're getting older. Who they gonna live to? We got a whole family church down there. Nowhere to leave none of this stuff to. Wow. And so it just worries me that as a people, we ain't handling our business, and it's a lack of knowledge. Yeah. So I think tapping into her, I'm excited about that, and I'll be sharing that. The more I get that information, I'm willing to bring that to you. And I think she said for $50 a month, you get access to that attorney.
Wow, that's fantastic. So you mentioned heirs property, right? And that's a big thing with these investors out here. They're going after these individual families who have heirs rights and dividing and conquering, and that's very, very unfortunate. And that is how we're losing a lot of our land that was traditionally in our families. But I want the audience to know, what can they do right now to help Community Bridges Inc.? What do you most need help with right now?
We need people to support what we're doing. We need people
Well,
to
go ahead.
I guess just support, like sign up for the website. Follow us on Facebook. I mean, locally, we need people to support our cab and to start coming to our consumer advisory board meetings. But we will, now that we're starting to do more work on the ground, we're going to start sharing a lot more and putting out more opportunities for people to support us. Like I said, I'm going to be working with Protecting Our People Tennessee. They're supposed to be coming down, I think Sunday, to start doing some work in the community. And we're just getting ready for 2024. So just stay tuned. Follow us on social media. Sign up for the website on Community Bridges. Donate if you want to, but I'm not that right now. I'm just more about trying to build that people power. Yeah. I know we all struggling financially at this moment, and there's so many other causes out there that need funding. But if you want to donate, but really follow us, support us.
Yeah.
I really do see y'all's organization growing into something that's going to be phenomenal, especially in the area of generational wealth building. We can all see, well, I know I can see that you all can go from helping people just get a home to helping people own a home. I see that in you all's future, because that is the only way that most people can be sustained, is through home ownership, which translates into generational wealth building. So I wish you all both the very, very best. You have my full support. And like Major said, just contact us whenever you have some breaking news or something that you want to share with the people. Any way that we can get involved, I am here to help. I want to thank you again, and congratulations on all the inroads that you guys are making. And may the Most High continue to give you the strength to keep moving forward with what you've got going on. And y'all bless you all.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank
And
you
again,
so much.
I definitely want to give y'all flowers now. Let me grab these flowers right here.
Oh, thank you. Receive.
Give y'all flowers right here. I can't give it. I can't give y'all. I'm
for
gonna give
real.
y'all the flowers right now. Y'all deserve it, because y'all really doing the work. And this why I made the TV and News Factor Commons came together just to bring information to the people, find ways how we can work with the people, and then bring the message home.
Yes.
For those who want to donate, it's on the screen, it's in the chat, it's also in the description of the video. You heard these sisters struggle, their journey, and what they're doing. They're doing the freaking work. I'm sick and tired of people making it seem like nobody not doing nothing.
Right.
I'm sick and tired of people creating narratives and want something just happen overnight. I would love for every melanated person, not just in the States and the islands, the motherland and Europe, come together and just overthrow everything. But we are monolithic people. We different. We think we don't think the same. We don't act the same. We don't move the same. Why? 'Cause we come from different tribes in Africa. Different tribes, different. That don't mean I don't like. We just different, and that's cool. But I applaud you all, and I applaud anybody, and I welcome anybody who have a movement, in the community, because y'all are big verse in y'all community, but y'all versus to our people, because y'all don't get exposure. And I know how hard it is when people have platforms to come on and get y'all message out, but I definitely have to acknowledge April. I gotta say this because I'm so impressed, because I remember she was adamant. I'm surprised, because you used to be doing a lot. You talk real few. You got cool. You laid back. You she need to be super hyped to see you right now. My heart is filled, and I can really say that when you really put your mind to something, you can do it. And she one of the people. Trust me, she one of the people.
Okay.
She was telling me years ago. Salute, I appreciate that.
Thank you, Major. Thank you for giving me
Yes.
this opportunity.
Any last words
Because
before we close? Cody, you gonna pass the rapid question thing and just close it right here? It's been almost
Hey
2 hours.
man, they did such a great job throughout the interview. Like they answered all the rapid fire questions. Like, no need to go through that. That was beautiful. You ladies are articulate, and you represent our people very well. And I'm happy to have get the opportunity to meet you and look forward to working with you soon. Just like yeah, because I'm about that land buying grabbing thing. Yes, yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
That's my
Thank
specialty.
you.
Is
thank
that
you
land.
both so much. This means a lot,
Yeah.
and I'm very grateful.
So grateful.
All praises to the
This was
Most High.
insane.
I can't
Yes.
really. I want to chat. No, I do see y'all. Thank y'all so much. I don't know why, but I'm not able to scroll around, and it's kind of we've been doing this 2 hours, so I'm not gonna try to go through the chat like that. If you want to go through it, code it, cool. But I just wanted the sisters to know that y'all did a great job tonight. For those who watch, those who and I'm watching a lot of y'all shout me out, love, support to y'all. Thank you so much, blessings. I'm loving y'all comments, what have you, and I'm loving the fact that y'all seeing what these sisters doing. Y'all spread the word by liking and sharing this video. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. Not just the Made TV. You got AchotiSpeaks right now on YouTube. You got news, facts, and comments on YouTube, and you got at Generational Wealth Building on YouTube. And also check out News, Facts, and Comments website, newsfactsnc.net. Y'all need an article wrote. Y'all need something did. Holler at me and Cody. We do all that behind the scenes. We write and everything. Y'all need to check out our website. You know what I'm saying? We write articles. We share other articles, other platforms and stuff. A lot of interviews we place on them. We even got services and stuff like that. Y'all just got to just holler at us. But I definitely want to tell everybody, thank you so much for just hanging in with us. Because I ain't gonna lie, my issue in our community is we can see 1,000 people watching nonsense. Melanated people, black people, while you got stuff like this going on, they don't even care. You know, they may be borderline homeless, or they may know somebody homeless. Miss me with all that. This B1, Black Power, we need to come together when you got sisters like you all doing that. And that's what bothers my spirit more. And that's why I love talking about these stories, because these stories are like untold truths, untold
Yeah.
realities, untold stories. And what's so crazy about it is the fact that not just with this, but everything. Like people
Mm-hmm.
not coming because a lot of stuff. That's why I just say on my channel, we brainwash our own people.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
see a lot of stuff that keep them not from getting involved. But they don't know your tax. First of all, your ancestors built this country. Your taxpayers, you know what I'm saying? You know, you
Yeah.
do have rights. They may be limited, but you have rights. But we telling our
Yeah.
people, a lot of platforms, some large voices in our community, don't do this, don't do that, blah, 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 blah. A lot of hype, sensationalizing things in our community, which is true. We do have violence, poverty. We do deal with police violence. We do deal with education issues. We do deal with funding. We do deal with a lot of systemic things. But the thing about it is, our ancestors didn't give up. They kept
Mm-hmm.
fighting. What we have right now, they paid the way. They paid the way, and we just stepping all over. I always say this. Our ancestors said, very less and did much more. We got so much, and we doing horrible.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna close saying that. According to you have your last words, them sisters get last words. We're gonna get out here, and we gonna do this again. Y'all gotta come back again for real, for real.
Yes, sir.
We
Thank you
ready.
so
So much,
much.
so much, so much. Y'all take care. I'm gonna let Cody have a last words. We're gonna close out. Much love. Thank you for coming on platform.
Thank
All
you.
right, peace.
Peace. Yeah, Major, that was a beautiful build. I love seeing those sisters and the way they articulate themselves together. They are an awesome duo together, and I just pray the Most High continue to bless them in their efforts, and we definitely will continue to support them. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna say like your boy. I can't remember his name, but I remember saying, "Hit the cash app, man." hit the cash out and support them sisters. You heard me? I mean, we support nonsense all the time. We can hit the cash app and help them sisters. I already didn't put my little 2 change in to help them right now while we were online. So
I gotta do it too, this lady. Oh, I gotta make my donation, man. God, man.
Just
Woo.
throw it in because them sisters worked when they wasn't getting paid, and that's virtuous women right there. That's virtuous women out right there. That's standing for what they
I gotta
believe
give
in.
y'all. So y'all did a good job. Y'all did a
And
good job.
and
Y'all
you
did
know,
a good
based
job.
on it's not something that they heard, it's something that went through and persevered. They're an example and an inspiration to all of us to not give up and to keep on going and to fight for us. Yeah, we may have our in-house disagreements, but at the end of the day, we all we got. And if we don't fight for us, who gonna fight for us? For us.
Right.
And as them sisters just told y'all that, hey, as long as you ain't following along what they go along to get along plan, they're gonna leave you dead and stinking. So it's time for us to rise up. Wake up, Judah. And that's my last words. Peace to the chat.
And for them sisters, man, I'm telling my heart, I had to hold back the tears, man, because I was homeless. If people don't know, I was homeless, and I never told my testimony. I was going through a tumultuous relationship. After I came out of jail for fighting the fight, I got an incident with the police, right? And I came home, and the relationship just wasn't right no more. And I tried to stay around for a couple, like, I don't know, year two, but I started driving trucks, right? We talking about, I don't know, 11 years ago, what happened. And got the point where I'm not from out here. I'm not from out here land. I'm from New Orleans. So I knew people, and some people want to go by, you be iffy, some people you don't want to go by, right? And I went by a friend of mine's sister, and she was dealing with a guy, and the guy was beating her. He was, cussing out, whatever, right? So one day I just snapped and went off on him, and I was like, man, you do her. I wasn't around when I was hearing the arguing, but not the physical side, but I threatened him, right? And I seen, she'll call the police, but she would never take it no farther than that. And I found myself in a position where if I hurt this man, I got a criminal background, so forth, so on. I'm not going back to prison. So I wound sleeping on the semi truck with the company never knew, you know what I'm saying? And I parked in the company yard, and I did that for a whole year. They was talking about going to the gym. I was going to the gym, the shower and everything. If I can't get the gym, I go to the truck stop. And that was for 1 year, y'all. And I made it work. And I've talked about it with people that I know, but I never brought it to the. But yeah, I was homeless for 1 year, and the problem was I had a very nice vehicle, and I didn't want to go in the hood. I had a criminal background, so when you apply for a nice apartment, nice area, they gonna run your background, and I never forget this. Right? They wound up denying me because of my background. I kid you not. I prayed to the Most High, and I was like, I'm not going to hood. I grew up in the projects in New Orleans. I won't be in no projects. I know how we look at each other, when they driving nice and what have you. Then I had a nice driving truck. A year later, the Most High, not the same apartment, but in that area, I got me a real nice apartment. And then I bought my house like a couple years later, right? Like 6, 8, where I'm at right now, right? But it's a real live testimony. I really can relate to what they was talking about, going to the gym and all that. I did that. You know what I'm saying? So homelessness is real. And for me, I'm not saying I couldn't get a place, but so many places that they try to rent you, they either be taxing, they be having all kind of issues with the apartments or whatever, a lot of crime, violence. I didn't want to be a part of that. But I was once homeless for 1 year. And it changed my life completely because, I knew that I wanted better for myself. So I won't put myself in no positions, right? But when I prayed the Most High, deliver me, and I ain't look back. From there, I got the department, and I bought the house, and my life just took off from there. So that's my personal testimony by it. So That's why it's dear to my heart. And again, I don't talk too much about me personally. I just a little something about what I had been through myself. I want to thank everybody watching. I want to thank my beautiful guest, Cody. I want to thank um, um Kenneta and April for coming on and just being warriors for the people and to hear firsthand what they went through, how they was used, and systemically how things are set up, and to see how our community is still paralyzed and what to do, confused and what to do, is just something that I think that we have to push. So I'm grateful for your praise in the Most High, and I just want to thank everybody because I mean this channel have always been for like pushing it. These I ain't gonna say narrative, but these messages, bring them home about what we need to do. Because trust me, I don't believe one person can do this. I don't think a few people gonna do this. I think it's gonna take a group. It ain't gonna take the whole community. We're gonna take a nice group of us, the real ones that's really about making a difference. So I just want to thank everybody again. Y'all be safe out there. Y'all be strong and just be yourself. Peace.